Hi, this is Jennifer Dobner. On May 3rd, 2014, in the beautiful city of Placerville, California. I am videotaping this on a beautiful day in a beautiful setting to hope make it so that I'm not so nervous. However, here we go. On the first question, articulate what you understand to be healthy sexuality. Sexuality has personally been referred to something secretive, perverse, dirty, taboo, and somewhat of a mystery growing up for me. When in fact, it is a gift God has given us to each and every one of us, to some to give to the one that He has planned for us. Sex is not a dirty word, but churches have not given it a good rap, and the world has definitely perverted it. Something that is supposed to be, and has perverted something that is supposed to be so beautiful. So healthy sexuality to me means that what God intended it means it's the way God intended it to be. And it is an expression of love, passion, and communication between a man and a woman who are married. Because of the church and the world, I believe that people, including myself, have had hang-ups regarding sex. Keeping it healthy is by going back to how God originally had intended it to be. Hi. On the second question, what are some pros and cons of studying sexuality and using research in the exploration and understanding of sexuality? I think the correct kind of education regarding sexuality is important and significant to developing a healthy understanding and attitude regarding sexuality. Researching, first of all, what God says about sex, and pulling from information that is open, honest, yet tactful and respectful, and not crude. I know specifically some young men that have had fathers, and sometimes even mothers, who have just handed them a Playboy or taken them to an X-rated movie and said, this is how you do it. What a crass and irresponsible way of introducing somebody to sexuality when it's supposed to be such a beautiful thing that God had created. I think it's healthy not to be vague, but explore research that explains the act of sex and lovemaking and describe what happens to a man and a woman when they are aroused, and both physically and what happens emotionally. A lot of kids nowadays just feel that it's the physical aspect of sex and don't realize the importance of maturity of the emotional impact sex may have between two people and the connection. There's a reason why God calls it one flesh. And that understanding and that philosophy is just not introduced in this day and age. I think research also is important, that it's through the biblical worldview filter, which is very imperative on this subject. On the third question, which is what are the differences in the presentations of healthy sexuality between our textbooks and the scripture? Our textbook, written by Carol, definitely gives a broad and very blunt view, implicating the worldview and other cultures' interpretation of what sexuality is about. It gives a very generic view to the point and the opinion of sex, totally missing the incredible beauty of the whole biblical picture and significance of how God intended sex to be in our lives. The other two texts, written by Arthur and Winner, not only give God's reason for sex, but talk about redemption in the cases of those of us who have fallen away from God's original plan for us in the area of sexuality and intimacy. I believe the redemption portion is very important Because if we do not feel redeemed from our sexual sin, healthy sexuality cannot be reborn in us. Lastly, the last question is, what has had the most influence on my view of sexuality? As a young girl, I was very limited to the with my information regarding sexuality. I knew that sex before marriage was wrong because it went against God's plan for our lives. However, I was not given the missing piece in that conversation is that the reason why sex is not right before marriage, because God's plan is perfect. And I never was told that it's a beautiful gift given and created by God for us to enjoy, not some perverse thing, not some bad thing, it's a beautiful thing, and He created it for us to enjoy. This was never explained to me. So when I would watch soap operas, mind you, past tense, I do not watch them anymore. And that was a hard step too, because I kind of romanticized them. But as an adult, as I become to understand what true sexuality and true romance really is about, didn't need the soap operas anymore. So anyways, back on track. As I would watch soap operas and some movies where couples would engage in sexual activity, I thought, how beautiful. This isn't bad. I also saw that it was romantic. I think women are definitely, well, men are romantic too, but very definitely romanticize the whole subject of sex. So it did not look bad to me, and I just thought, I didn't understand why. I mean, I put the label bad to sex, and it's not. And so my view of sexuality was romanticized, and I realized from watching these movies that it wasn't supposed to be bad. So I was definitely disillusioned by both the world and the world's interpretation of sexuality, as well as the church's explanation of sexuality. Well, anyways, thank you for this opportunity to share this video with you, and God bless you. Bye.